She runs an entire department at work. She's trying to get her youngest through graduation. She's sitting in a parking lot, gripping the steering wheel so tight, her knuckles are turning white, crying so hard, she can barely breathe. Her dad had refused to use his walker again. He fell, and she was the one who had to lift him. Alone. I'm Nicole, a Gen X nurse, and for our generation, caring for aging parents is not a gentle transition. It hits hard. It hits fast. It feels like a collision nobody warned you about. And the moment it starts, it can wake up old family dynamics. It's the psychology of Gen X suddenly colliding with your sense of guilt, your sense of obligation, resentment, and the familiar Gen X belief that somehow it's your job to keep it all together and handle it. I've watched this play out in hospital rooms for 30 years, but now I'm starting to see it hit closer to home. I've seen it with my friends, with my coworkers, the people I grew up with. More and more Gen X caregivers are getting the same terrifying phone calls. Your mom fell. Your dad is confused. We need someone to come pick them up from the ER right now. This isn't the gentle version of caregiving you see in the movies or the Waltons. When I say caring for aging parents, I'm not talking about dropping off soup and fluffing pillows. I'm talking about the real physical work nobody prepared you for. And you find yourself dealing with the sudden verbal and/or physical aggression that comes with memory loss. You're handling falls, wandering, appointments, and living with the constant fear that if you step out of the room for even 5 minutes, something catastrophic will happen. And let's go back to falls, because when an adult body loses its balance, it becomes dead weight. And even the strongest ones of us can't safely catch somebody who's falling. In the hospital, as a nurse, we always transferred or lifted people in teams of at least 2. And sometimes we used medical equipment. Now, imagine trying to do it alone in a hallway at 3 in the morning. There's no call light. There's no backup. It's just you and your full-grown parent lying on the floor, looking to you for help. You won't find a Norman Rockwell painting of this moment, but this is the reality so many Gen X women are living in right now. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you the biggest mistake I see Gen X women make when this starts. And it hits us especially hard. It all goes back to the psychology of Gen X women. We were raised to be low ask, brought up in minimal needs mode. The quiet burden carriers, self-sufficient, the ultimate good daughters, who never complained or rarely asked for anything and always handled it. We learned to absorb the family stress and just keep moving. But that same self-reliance that we were raised on is now crashing into the brutal reality of caring for aging parents. If this is you right now, if you're exhausted, resentful, but somehow still showing up every single day, you are not a bad daughter. You're not failing. You're doing something most Gen X caregivers were never trained for physically, medically, or psychologically. You're being thrown to the wolves with no training. Basically, you're carrying a second full-time job on top of the life you've already built. And here's the stinger. And almost no one acknowledges how impossible this has become. You're handling it. And here's the biggest mistake I see Gen X women make over and over again. We use our self-reliance against ourselves. We treat total collapse as the only acceptable stopping point. That sandwich generation stress is not a metaphor. It's a vice grip. Let's take Joanne for an example. She was the ultimate good daughter. Independent, never asking for help. She wanted to avoid drama at all cost. But when her mother's cognitive decline started, Joanne absorbed all of it. She didn't involve her siblings. She refused to even consider memory care because she had made promises to her mom. One day, she was sitting at the kitchen table trying to remember whether she had taken her own blood pressure medication. She could list every single one of her mom's meds, but she couldn't even remember her own. That was the moment Joanne realized she could no longer do this alone. And that Gen X mindset of doing it alone is costing us everything. Marriages are cracking under the strain. Women are missing work. They're burning through their PTO. And they're sacrificing their own financial security for care that never seems to end. Siblings are fighting about who's doing what, or more often, about who's doing nothing. Your own kids and grandkids are watching you slowly disappear into caregiving. You have no time to give them. And sometimes it gets to the point that it's dangerous. When you can't even step into the bathroom for 90 seconds without fearing your parent will wander out the front door, that's an issue. You've tried every lock, every monitor, every trick, and nothing fully works. And that has an effect on your health. It's collapsing. Your sanity, it's fraying. And it all comes down to our belief that we should be able to handle the impossible alone. And it's breaking us in ways that we aren't talking about. Like this. Nobody wants to say this out loud. But there comes a time when caring for your aging parent at home is no longer safe for either one of you. And that's not failure. And it's not being selfish when you choose to move them into a safer environment. It's okay. Dementia could give two hoots about your childhood promises. Mobility loss doesn't care about your guilt one iota. And falls, they could care less about your good intentions. If you're at that point, moving a parent to a higher level of care is not a failure. It's often the next logical step in providing the care they need. You were not built to be an entire healthcare system for your parent. You were built to love them the best that you can, given the circumstances. Here's my plea to Gen X women. It's time for you to stop trying to do the impossible alone. Stop sacrificing your health, your marriage, your future on a promise or an expectation that was never realistic from the get-go. I'm going to do a video soon on what you can do to prepare for this moment. Look for it in the next couple of weeks. If you're a Gen X woman dealing with this right now, drop lifting in the comments. I'm Nicole, and you're in the right place.